I always love the term overnight success in country music because, it's as if you just arrive in Nashville, people faint and fall over at your talent, and you immediately start recording your album and head out on tour in front of 20,000 people. Clayton, how long have you been grinding in Music City?
I've been in Music City for about 3 years now. Spring of 2018 is when I moved down here.
Describe what it's like when you get to that town with just a guitar and a dream. I mean, I would think it's an overwhelming experience. What's your first move? I mean, what do you do?
Absolutely, no doubt. It's overwhelming because you look around and you see all these guys that are just crushing it, and I guess everyone's journey is a little bit different. But mine was kind of standard. I moved here and I started touring with the band and just making as many connections as I could. I guess it's a little different from other people's stories because I didn't immediately dive into my songwriting and my artistry. I actually was touring with the band playing bass guitar up in Canada a lot. And then after about a year of that is when I kind of started diving into my solo stuff and songwriting. And so I've only been really doing the solo artist thing seriously for probably about 2 years.
React to this statement. I make it to people all the time when they're making a trip to Nashville. I say, if you think it's competitive to get onto country radio, if you think it's competitive on the charts, if you think it's competitive to sell tickets on the road, you should see the competition to get on stage on Broadway in Nashville on any night that ends in Y. True or false?
True. Absolutely true. In my opinion, it's the best of the best down there. It's people from all over the country that have been playing country music and honing their craft for a long time, and they don't let just anybody up on stage down there. So you're absolutely right, and pretty intimidating for somebody who's considering moving down here. Whenever I'd come and visit and I'd come down and see those guys, they'd be like, "Man, that's going to be next to impossible to try to compete with." But you get down here, you immerse yourself in the scene, and you make connections, and you learn from people, and you really just hone your craft, and it can be surprising what things become possible.
What is immersing yourself in the scene? What does that entail for you, or what did it entail for you?
It's kind of evolved to mean something different as I've lived here for a little bit longer. Initially, when I moved to town, it meant just being out at every single event that I could possibly be at. It's a town where it's all about who you know, not what you know. You could be the most talented musician out there, and you might never make it, or you could be extremely untalented and just know the right people, and you might make it. So that kind of thing. Let's be honest. That kind of thing has to piss you off, right? Be honest. Yes. No, honestly, because it's I'm not the type of person that looks at someone else's success and gets jealous or anything like that. If anything, it fires me up and makes me more motivated. I guess overnight successes are a little bit irritating when you've been grinding for years, but that just means that they did something that I didn't do. So if anything, I try to learn from it. But I guess what it means to me now to immerse myself in the scene is to be around the right people. I think originally it was to be around everyone that I could, and now it's more along the lines of finding my core group of people that I need to be around all the time, just for inspirational reasons and for networking and all of that.
Well, you could never be in radio because you're not petty enough. You need to be petty to do what I do. Hey, there's no way, though, that you don't try to do what you're doing and have big times of doubt. When was that moment, though, that you said or that it occurred to you, you know what, Clayton Shay, you belong in this town? When was that moment for you?
Man, it's a daily thing, honestly. Some days it's without a doubt the right move, and other days you think about quitting and getting a 9-to-5 and paying your bills a little easier that way. So I guess I don't know that there was a moment. I think that there was one crucial moment for me where somebody that I really respected and somebody who's really respected in the industry kind of laid things out for me very matter-of-factly, and it kind of took me back for a minute, and it definitely introduced some doubt for the first time in my mind. And it took a couple months of kind of rebuilding and finding myself, and I think restructuring the reasons why I wanted to do this thing. I think that I decided I needed to do it more for myself too, than just for other people, which was definitely a crucial turning point in my career, because I think that after that, it's kind of hardened me a little bit and, calloused me to the people in the industry that are going to tell me no, because you do hear no a lot. I think for every yes, you're going to get 100 no's.
And you live for the yes.
Absolutely.
I got to ask you about this song. I told you the other day, my son texted me from college about it. And honestly, I judge songs at this point in my career by one verse, one chorus. If you don't have me by then, you won't ever. But if you do, I don't need to hear anything more. And I listened to Sign Another Man twice, all the way through. Its story is so specific, and it created such visceral images in my head. Was this something you experienced firsthand, or was it something you just sat around with other songwriters and thought about it happening?
Kind of a combination of both. That's a really good question. I don't think anyone in the room that day had this exact experience, but I think we had all had a similar experience that we kind of drew off of. I think the way it kind of came about was we were sitting around and just talking about, how we always wrote breakup songs, and it's always, one-sided or, some kind of resentment involved in the song of some kind. And we're just like, well, what if that wasn't the case? And we kind of got talking about that and talking about how there aren't a lot of songs of that kind of category. So we explored that more and started talking about kind of the scenery of what this would look like if you ran into your ex's new person at the bar, and what if it wasn't like a negative experience, but instead you were like, well, I just want what's best for my ex, and you seem to make her happy. So that's kind of where it came about with the whole letter writing aspect too.
And it's very rare that I run across independent records like this that have a true video, much less one of this quality. Talk to me about that production. Are the actors friends? Did they work for free? How cheap were they?
I wish it was free. They were friends of mine, yeah, so they cut me a deal. But I'm very insistent on taking care of anybody that works with me and being as hospitable as I can. So while they did kind of cut me a deal, I still found ways to hook them up, bringing a case of beer and buying food and things of that nature. But I gotta shout out my buddy Andy Pollitt with Jeans Media who did the video. I'm just so absolutely lucky to have him on board in my team. He's working with everybody from Matt Stell to Cameron Marlowe to Jimmy Allen to Kane Brown, Miranda Lambert. The fact that I even get to use him is huge for me as an independent. And he's the one that's done both of my music videos now. Both were on CMT, and both lots of success with both those videos. And we're going to be doing another one for the next single as well. But yeah, just basically the reason why the video turned out so well is because I have such a good team around me, and the actors, they're dating, so it wasn't like they had to force the chemistry for the video. It was natural, and it just Andy's an absolute genius when it comes to laying out storylines too. So kind of just fell into place, really.
Well, when they break up, write the sequel and have them star in that too.
Yeah, we actually talked about using the same actors from the first one for the second one, but we decided we wanted to keep it fresh and just kind of, give it a new feel. I think we'll probably do the same thing with the next one too, just keeping things fresh and always progressing forward,